All right. Hello, 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 everyone. I am Pau, and I'm going to be your host for today's very interesting podcast. Because today we're going to be embarking on a journey into the heart and mind of one of the Philippines' greatest heroes, Jose Rizal, through his poignant farewell poem titled Mi Ultimo Adios. In the life and works of Jose Rizal, we find a profound convergence of intellect and passion, a relentless pursuit of knowledge, and an unwavering love for his country. Rizal's legacy is not just etched in his literary masterpieces or his activism against colonial injustices. It lives in the hearts of the Filipino people as a beacon of inspiration, urging us to embrace our identity, strive for justice, and dream of nation truly free. So, proceeding for today's podcast, we're going to be talking about a lot of engaging topics and segments. Kicking off with Rizal's personal life and works, and here today with me are our invited national historians from the Philippine National Museum who studied the life and works of Jose Rizal. Introducing Mr. Rafael Talens, Mr. Aaron Ylagan, and Mr. Lance Torres. Welcome to our podcast, guys. So we
Oh,
all know that Jose Rizal, a polymath and national hero, played a pivotal role in the Philippines fight against Spanish colonial. First and foremost, how do you guys know Jose Rizal? Yeah, anyone can take over and answer.
Jose Portasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Realonda, commonly known as Jose Rizal, was born on June 19, 1861, in Calamba, Laguna, Philippines. During the Spanish colonial period, he came from a well-educated family and showed early promise as a scholar. Rizal pursued study in Manila, Europe, and received degree in medicine, philosophy, and letters.
Uh, as Rizal travels exposed him to different cultures and fueled by his passion for reforms in the Philippines, he was not only a brilliant intellectual but also a prolific writer, poet, and polyglot. His most notable works include the novels No Tangere and El Filibusterismo, which critiques Spanish colonial abuses and inspired national sentiments.
Hmm. Yeah, I see. That's interesting. How about Rizal's contributions? What can you guys say about it?
So Rizal had three contributions, which is literary legacy, political activism, medical practice, and philanthropy. First, in literary legacy, Rizal's literary works served as a catalyst for Filipino nationalism. His writings exposed the injustices under Spanish rule and inspired a sense of identity and resistance among Filipinos. Second, political activism. Rizal was actively involved in advocating for political reforms. He was a member of La Liga Filipina, a civic organization, and used his pen to call for peaceful reforms and the assimilation of the Philippines as a province of Spain. And lastly, medical practice and philanthropy. Rizal, a licensed ophthalmologist, also contributed to healthcare. He established a clinic in Calamba to provide medical services to the poor.
I see. So can you guys share something about the social political climate of
Oh,
Rizal's time?
I know that. During his own lifetime, during 1861 to 1896, the Philippines was a colony of the Spanish Empire. The socio-political climate was characterized by two, actually one, four, four, four expression, which is colonial oppression. The Philippines endured centuries of Spanish rule marked by social inequality, religious discrimination, and economic exploitation. exploitation. Emer- Emergence of reform movements. Growing discontent led to the formation of reformist movements seeking political and social changes. Rizal's writing were part of this intellectual and social awakening.
And Katipunan and Revolution. In the latter years of Rizal's life, the revolutionary group Katipunan, led by figures like Andres Bonifacio, emerged. The frustration with the slow pace of reforms led to a more radical call for independence, eventually sparking in the Philippine Revolution in 1896.
The execution of Rizal, advocacy, sorry about that, for peaceful reforms conflicted with the more radical movements. Despite his call for non-violence, he was implicted in the Katipunan uprising on December 30, 1896. Rizal was executed by firing squad, becoming a martyr for the cause of the Philippine independence. This later created the Ultimo Adios.
That's very insightful, yes. So proceeding with our next segment, as we explore the verses of Mi Ultimo Adios, let us pay homage to Jose Rizal, a luminary whose words echo through time, reminding us of the enduring power of love for one's homeland and the courage to stand against oppression. Without further ado, let the verses of Mi Ultimo Adios unfold, and may we honor the memory of this remarkable man and the profound circumstances that led to the creation of this timeless masterpiece.
Farewell, dear fatherland, climb the sun Torres, pearl of the Orient seas, our Eden's lost. Gladly now I go to give thee this faded life's best, and where it brighter, fresher, or more bliss. This would I give it to, nor count the cost.
So as we heard, these lines represent the opening of Rizal's farewell poem, where he bids farewell to his beloved homeland, expressing his deep love and sacrifice for the Philippines. The poem continues with profound reflection on life, death, and the hope of freedom.
As we analyze the powerful emotions conveyed through Rizal's word, the Ultimo Adios is a poignant and powerful literary work that encapsulates Rizal patriotism and his unwavering commitment to the cause of Philippine independence.
Mhm. Yeah, wise words from our national hero, Jose Rizal. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this next segment, we explore how Mi Ultimo Adios transcended poetry to become a rallying cry for the Philippine Revolution, shaping the course of history with its powerful call to arms and inspiring a generation to rise against colonial oppression.
The Ultimo Adios became a rallying cry for the Philippine Revolution because it encapsulated the spirit of sacrifice, patriotism, and resistance. The poem, combined with the martyrdom of Rizal, served as a unifying force, inspiring generations of Filipinos in the pursuit of national independence.
And discussing Rizal's execution and the subsequent events that unfolded. The execution of Jose Rizal on 30th of December 1896 marked a pivotal moment in the Philippine history and had a significant repercussions for the country's struggle for independence.
So in essence, Rizal execution symbolized the sacrifices made by Filipinos in their struggle for freedom. While it did not immediately lead to the establishment of an independent Philippines, it ignited the fervor that contributed to the broader movement against colonial rule and set the stage for the eventual pursuit of national sovereignty.
The poem Ultimo Adios by Jose Rizal had a profound and enduring impact on Philippine history and identity. Here are some key ways in which the poem has influenced the nation. Symbol of patriotism. Mi Ultimo Adios is widely regarded as a symbol of unwavering patriotism. Rizal's farewell expressed profound love for the Philippines and a willingness to sacrifice his life for its freedom. The poem has become a rallying cry for Filipinos in their quest for national identity and independence.
For inspiration for nationalism, the poem has inspired generation of Filipinos to embrace and celebrate their national identity. It serves as a reminder of the sacrifices made by Rizal and other heroes in the pursuit of freedom and justice.
The integration into education, the Ultimo Adios, is a staple in Philippine education. Students across the country study the poem, and its verses are often memorized and recited during patriotic events. This integration ensures that Rizal's message continues to be passed down to new generations.
I see. So we all know that Mi Ultimo Adios is a Petrarchan sonnet, a 14-line poem with a specific structure, rhyme, scheme, and thematic elements. Can you guys expound the literary elements within the said poem?
In the poetic structure, there are two forms. The sonnet form. The poem follows the Petrarchan or the Italian sonnet form, consisting of octave followed by a sestet. This traditional structure is commonly used in love poems, but Rizal adapts it into a different way to convey his deep love for his country. The second one is the lambic pentameter. The poem is predominantly written in lambic pentameter, a meter consisting of 10 syllables per line with the stress on every second syllable. This rhythmic pattern gives the poem a flowing and measured quality. While in the rhyming scheme of the octave is pronounced as A, B, B, A, A, B, B, A, and the set follows various patterns. In the original Spanish, Rizal used different end rhymes schemes in the sestet, often employing CDE, CDE, or CDC, DCD. From my opinion, these varied rhyme schemes contribute to the poem's musicality.
For the symbolism, Pearl of the Orient Seas, the Philippines is referred to as the Pearl of the Orient Seas as a symbolic and romanticized this depiction of the country's natural beauty and significance. Garden of the Sun. Rizal refers to the Philippines as the Garden of the Sun, symbolizing the nation's potential for growth, prosperity, and beauty. In Fading Lights, the imaginary of faded lives best symbolize Rizal's sacrifice and gradual dimming of his life for the greater cause of Philippine independence. Imagery, Rizal employs vivid and evocative imagery throughout the poem, painting picture of the Philippines as a beautiful and beloved homeland. The use of visual and sensory details enhances the emotional impact of the poem.
In metaphor, Rizal uses metaphoric language to convey his sentiments. For example, when he speaks of faded life's best, he metaphorically refers to the sacrifice he is making for the sake of his country, emphasizing the value and significance of that sacrifice. In allusion, Rizal makes an allusion to biblical themes and stories. The phrase farewell, sweet stranger. In this sestet can be interpreted as a reference to Rizal's bidding farewell to life on earth and embracing the unknown journey beyond, akin to the biblical theme of departing from the earthly realm. Repetition. Rizal employs repetition for emphasis. The repetition for the word adios, in English farewell, throughout the poem intensifies the emotional impact and underscores the finality of his departure.
In Rizal's mastery of language and Ultimo Adios transcends the mere act of conveying information. It becomes a vehicle for profound emotion, cultural pride, and intellectual contemplation. The poem stands as a testament to the enduring power or language, shape and invoke the complexities of human experience.
That's a lot of information, guys. So thanks for all of those information. So proceeding with our next segment of our podcast today, we ask our listeners to share their reflections on Mi Ultimo Adios, and we've received some fantastic comments, questions, and personal stories. It's incredible how a piece of literature can resonate with people in different ways. So before we dive into our participating listeners, join the conversation and amplify the excitement, guys. So let's make a historical moment together by using our special event hashtag Morando and Mi Ultimo Adios when sharing your thoughts on the podcast. So yeah, guys, your voice matters, and together we can create a powerful community by spreading awareness because history is the foundation of that shapes our present and guides our future. And since we're here today with our notable historians, I would like to share the stage with them to read the submissions of our dear listeners.
For our first listener, now let's dive into the listener submissions. Our first comment comes from listener number one, who writes, I've I first encountered the Ultimo Adios in high school, and its powerful words left a lasting impact on me. I'm curious to know how others interpret the poem and what specific lines or verses have stayed with them over time. That's the that's a great point. It's always fascinating to see how a literary work can leave a lasting impression.
We also received an email from listener number 2, who shares a personal story related to the poem. They say, I remember reading Ultimo Adios during a difficult period in my life. The poem's themes of sacrifice and love for country inspired me to persevere. I'd love to hear if others had similar experience with this piece. Thank you, listener number 2, for that beautiful perspective. Well, it's incredible to think about the impact of literary works.
Now we have a question from listener number three who asks, what cultural or historical context should we consider when interpreting the Ultimo Audios? Excellent question. The cultural and historical context of a poem can indeed shape its meaning. We'll explore that in the upcoming segments.
So, thank you for all those questions, our dear listeners. That wraps up our listeners' reflections on Mi Ultimo Adios. We appreciate all your comments, questions, and stories. Keep them coming, guys, and who knows, your submission might be featured on our next episode. So, until then, thanks for tuning in to our podcast, and remember, literature has the power to connect us across time and space. So here, lastly, in our next segment, this would be an insightful one since we have a special treat for you as we delve into the rich history and literary legacy of one of the Philippines' national heroes, Dr. Jose Rizal. Joining us are distinguished historians, and literary experts who will provide us valuable insights into Rizal's life and historical backdrop of his iconic poem. So to start, um, guys, could you give our listeners a brief overview of Mi Ultimo Adios, Rizal's poem, or and can you give some historical context surrounding the writing of this poem?
Uh, Thank you for having us. Mi Ultimo Adios, which translates to My Last Farewell in English, was written by Jose Rizal on the eve of his execution on December 30, 1896. Facing his impending death, Rizal penned this poignant poem as a farewell to his family, friends, and fellow countrymen. The poem reflects not only Rizal's love for his homeland, but also his unwavering commitment to the ideas of freedom and justice.
Yeah, it's really a powerful piece indeed. And now, could you guys elaborate on the historical backdrop during the time when Rizal wrote the Ultimo Adios?
I have certainly at the time Rizal wrote the poem, the Philippines was in the midst of political upheaval. If upheaval, the revolutionary spirit was gaining momentum, fueled by the injustice of Spanish colonial rule. Rizal's execution marked a critical turning point in the country's history. Further, galvis- galvanizing up the Filipino people to pursue the dream of the independence, Mi Ultimo Adios encapsulates the turbulent atmosphere of the period, capturing the fervor of, and determination of those who fought for freedom.
So yeah. Thank you for providing that context, Mr. Rafael Talens. So before we wrap up, could you share your thoughts on the lasting impact of Mi Ultimo Adios on the Philippine literature and nation's collective memory?
Mi Ultimo Adios stands as as a timeless testament to the indomitable spirit of the Filipino people. Its verses continue to resonate, inspiring generations to come. Rizal's sacrifice and his eloquent farewell reminds us of the enduring pursuit of freedom and the importance of preserving our cultural and historical heritage. The poem remains as a source of inspiration for those who strive for a better, more just society.
Thank you, Mr. Lance, for shedding light on the life of Jose Rizal and the historical significance of Mi Ultimo Adios. And to our dear listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this enlightening discussion. And I hope you guys stay tuned for our next segment, which is the closing thoughts on Mi Ultimo Adios. So for this last segment, um, so yeah, here we are now to the final and yeah, last segment of our exploration into Jose Rizal's timeless poem, Mi Ultimo Adios. So, guys, it's been a captivating journey, and now let's recap the key takeaways for our podcast today. Firstly, we delve into the profound patriotism expressed by Rizal as he bid farewell to his beloved Philippines. The themes of sacrifice, love, love for his country, rather, and the yearning for freedom echoed throughout his poignant verses. As we reflect on Mi Ultimo Adios, let's remember the relevance of Rizal's words in today's context. His advocacy for education, justice, and national unity continues to inspire us to work towards a better society. Now, dear listeners, this is not the end but an invitation to delve deeper into Rizal's extensive body of work. Explore his novels, essays, and letters to gain a comprehensive understanding of his thoughts and visions for the Philippines. So, before we conclude, we want to express our deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for joining us on this insightful journey into the heart of Rizal's masterpiece. Your engagement and curiosity make this podcast possible.
Excuse me. Before we end this
Mhm.
podcast, I would like to ask my fellow historians,
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
what hooked them to study and study the life and works of Rizal. May I ask first, Mr. Rafael Talens?
First, in high school, we all know we tackled uh, El Filibusterismo and No Limit on Red, right? And that took my insights to learn what happened to Rizal and why he ended his life like that by the Spanish colonial era. And we want to know uh his love life. You
Yeah.
we all know she he has a lot of girls,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yes.
From Maria
Women involved
Clara
in her life. Yep.
from Maria Clara to what's the name of the last that he married in Kapitan?
From
I
ano? From Hong Kong?
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh,
the
Josephine
foreigner. You
Bracken.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, Jocelyn Brown.
that's that's why and interesting to learn, and that's why I want to learn this Zerizal's life, his family, his history, everything. That's why I want to. That's why I'm glad to learn his 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 life.
Mhm. Yeah.
How about you, Mr. Jason Lance Torres? What
Uh,
took you on studying the life and works of Rizal?
Personally, I think it's about our cultural and historical background because it's important to know what happened in the past so that we can continue in the future in terms of how we decide in politics, in society, and we can see how it works properly or structurally. That's why I take Rizal or research Rizal as a good thing to study. You should never forget about it. That's it.
How about you?
And
How about you, Mr. Yeah, Mr.
for me, I
Aaron?
think
Yeah.
ano, it's just I find intriguing ano, Rizal's
Mhm.
life and works. It's like how did we get up to here? Like what happened in the past? What did he do? What
Yeah.
are his sacrifices? What what do we need to achieve these achievements, right? So yeah, that's all. It really hooked me and wonder that what did he really do back then?
Mhm.
And here we are now. And how about you, or to our host? If you would ever to study life and works of Rizal, what would be the main cause? And yeah,
If I were to study the life and works of Rizal, I think it will be because of my personal curiosity on his life, especially on his contributions in our country. Why did the Philippines or us Filipinos look up to him our as a national one of the national heroes here. So yeah, I think it would be very interesting to study his life and works in general. Yep. So that's for me. So yeah, guys, if you do you have any last thoughts on our podcast today, on what we've talked about, key takeaways or whatever, you guys can take the stage.
I have
Mm,
question.
Mhm.
What do you think Rizal's love more? Is there you think Maria Clara or what's the name of the other one in Hong Kong?
Josephine
Yeah.
Bracken.
What do you think he
Uh
loves more?
I personally think he loved Josephine Bracken since he married her. And the life they shared in the Pitan um is something is really something. Yeah. So I think Rizal loved Josephine Bracken than his other girlfriends in the past.
But we
How about
all
you
know.
guys?
But we all
uh,
know
for
Maria
me, ano,
Clara.
for me, it's ano eh, Leonor Rivera eh, because it's his true love talaga
The
eh. It's
first
like,
love.
yes,
Uh,
it's like,
mm,
he, parang ano eh, nahirapan pa siya umalis eh, sa bansa para lang kay Leonor Rivera eh. Kaso, well, it's his cousin, so, and his father was opposed. That's why, well, if he didn't leave the Philippines, di niya makakadate yung ibang gano'n sa ibang country, di ba?
Hindi niya mamimit
Well, that's all
Zipagan.
for me.
yeah. How about you, Mr. Lance? Do you have
Uh,
some thoughts about it?
I have no comment regarding his past relationships. Basta gusto ko lang sa mga listeners natin, mag-aral kayo mabuti.
Yeah,
Tama,
yeah,
tama.
yeah, yeah. I think that 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 will close this podcast today for
Do'n
our
matutuwa si
dear,
Rizal.
yeah, for our dear listeners to really 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 be interested and study the life and works of Jose Rizal. So yeah, guys, thank you guys once again, our dear listeners. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact and follow us on our social media handles or even our website. So yeah, thank you to our dear historians. Thank you very much for your time today. So if you guys enjoyed our conversations, if you find our topics interesting, and if you want to be part of our growing community, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support is what keeps us going, and we can thank you enough for being a part of our podcast family. Thank you for being a part of this exploration. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep the spirit of Rizal alive in your hearts. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.